How's it going, everybody? Good afternoon, good morning, wherever or whenever you might be watching this video. We got Reid with us today for a Toolbox Talk. We're just actually getting back from a site visit with Kingsbury.
Cool site up there at Moscow, doing some dam work.
Yeah, I've never seen
demo.
that.
It was really cool to swing by there. Yep.
I look a lot at the safety things, but there was more. We also did scoops for safety this week, so we saw probably 30 different job sites this week, and I think building off what we tried to talk about a lot this training season was leadership, and going above and beyond just the safety piece, but leadership comes into play a lot on a job site. So
Definitely, and when we were at Scoops, both of our visits this week, whether it was the Kingsbury site or when we were at Scoops, we saw a bunch of really safe and compliant job sites. We probably handed out 150 ice creams to, I think it was 15 different companies that we were able to run into. But on top of the compliance and safety aspect of it, there is the leadership aspect of a job site that's kind of completely separated from safety. They work hand in hand, but we saw a lot of really impressive leadership things that were happening on the job sites. I was really impressed with Larry and his crew today up at Kingsbury.
It was a pretty laid back crew today.
But they were laid back because they had a real smooth groove that they had found in.
Was planned.
Exactly.
Tim says that all the time.
And so I think that comes down to our first big point about leadership that we recognized was that communication across these job sites was especially the ones that are running smoothly and look good from an outside perspective and a compliance perspective. Clear communication was really important to those leaders.
Also, when you take us two poop heads or whatever you want to call us, we fly in out of nowhere with ice cream. And all the questions we ask, we always get a clear answer, and basically they're able to explain.
This is what we're doing. This is how many people we got on site. This is what that crew's doing. This is how we're watching out for the fall protection issue that just popped up today, right? But so you're absolutely right. And the thing that the best leaders do when they're communicating is they recognize that I can talk to Ben with words and a tone that might be different than I can talk to Richard, right? Like, being a good communicator is about the communicator. It's not about the listener. If you're having problems on your job site with bad communication, things not going right, I told you to do it this way, really, I would say we need to look inside of ourselves and understand that good communication comes from understanding how someone is going to receive that information, right? And tailoring your message to make sure it's received by the audience.
Yeah, and that takes knowing the person you're talking to.
Exactly, right? It takes knowing the person you're talking to, which is another one of the things that we saw, and we've talked about this for years, probably since before you got here, but definitely on your first day. We always talk about AC4P, actively caring for people, right? And one of the biggest things we say about that is we need to know the people on our job sites as people, not just as Ben, the training guy, or Reid, the safety guy. We should know these people as people so we can have clear and direct conversations with them and know that they can come to us with problems, we can go to them with problems, that kind of stuff. We need to know our people. And we've had a couple of instances in recent memory, the last few weeks, where we've had some terrible things happen, right? And knowing our people after bad things happen is important, so we can check in on them and make sure that they're doing okay as people.
And that's, again, last week Richard and I talked a lot about mental health, and that comes into leadership. Kind of just encapsulates all of that. You take a tragic event and you're able to, as a leader, care for the people who are around you, and that's it all falls into, I guess, what leadership is as a whole.
Of course,
continuing to, I don't know, pick up where you left off.
Yeah, and good leaders, we've all been a part of really good teams, and we've all been a part of shitty teams. And really good teams.
Nobody wants to be on the shitty team.
Nobody wants to be on a bad team, but the really good teams, They look out for each other, not just as a guy hammering nails, but as a buddy who also hammers nails, right? We can have a good time and get work done, right? And a good leader is capable of getting the most out of their employees when things are going good, and they know how to get the most out of their employees when things are going bad, right?
I think, yes. I think another side of this that I especially struggle with, because I mean, you're a trainer, I'm a trainer, Richard's a trainer.
Yeah.
Having you both the ability to say, hey, you can't do it that way, that's not safe, but also having the accountability to not actually go do that yourself.
Great, and I think that's
so hard.
It's a beautiful segue into another thing that we were seeing is, safety. We oftentimes think that like safety is safety and productivity are the only two things that a leader has to worry about. Obviously, that's not true. No. There's a lot of things in between, but the best leaders or successful leaders find a way to remove that false kind of dichotomy of it's either safety or production, and they find a way to make those two things work in concert.
Definitely,
right?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. A lot of people
it's
will
possible,
argue that.
and not only do they find a way to work things in, and say, hey, we're going to do some trenching today. We're going to make sure we use the trench box, or we're working up on top of that high roof. We're going to make sure we're all tied off, or that the guard. Right. There's ways that we can work in safety and compliance into our production that day.
You look at the job site we saw today. You had two guys out busting ass, getting stuff done. And then every single question that you asked Larry about paperwork, where's everything was done.
Guardrails, handrails, throw rings, everything was ready to go, and he had the answer for it, right? And then when we saw someone out there who was outside of the work area that they should be, with good reason, they're trying to get something done, we get it, but Larry was quick to say, hey, we don't go over there without our life jacket on. Exactly, right? Because they're working near water. But that accountability, just like you're saying, it goes both up and down the chain. We ourselves as leaders need to hold ourselves accountable for the same things we hold our employees accountable. And when the boss comes to the office, we also have to be able to hold them accountable. We wear PPE on these jobs, this, that, and the other.
I'm the young guy, so I'm 25. So when I go to work and I get told to do something, and then I have to watch the people who are in charge of me not do that, that pisses me off.
It's really a morale killer, right?
It pisses me off.
And once we allow, there's this thing in safety, a theory called the normalization of deviance.
Yes, I know.
Once we accept, he's not going to wear his hard hat, so then I don't really need to wear my hard hat. And then as the leader, once I start letting a couple people get away with it, then everything starts to get away from what we accept.
It's the hardest thing as a trainer, I think, in terms of my job, is spending so much time trying to train people, and then having like, what do you want to call them, the one odd duck or whatever, where that doesn't apply to them. But what I would challenge you to challenge yourself on is like, when you do that and think that way, you're destroying that, what do you want to call it, the culture?
The morale, the culture,
because everyone around you gets pissed off because they have to deal with it, and you're not having to do it. So that just creates this divide of like, well, what the hell? Why does Reid not have to do something, but I'm being forced to do it? That makes me upset.
And then it's even worse when Reid doesn't have to do it, but Ben does, and then Ben gets written up for not doing that thing, right? We have to be able to hold each person accountable at the same level. Now, some things are acceptable at different levels or different operations, which is why as a leader, we need to be tactically and technically proficient at the majority of the things that are happening on our job site. We don't need to be the expert, the best guy at everything, because really a good leader knows how to empower his team, right? Or their team. But I need to know that Ben is the best guy at GPS. I don't have to be the best guy at GPS, but when someone has a GPS question, I need to be able to empower my team, i.e. Ben, the guy with the skill, to say, hey, come teach this other guy.
Yeah.
Because that makes you feel good. You've got some leadership now. I'm in charge of teaching this other guy. And that makes my life a little easier because I've been able to delegate. Yeah. I can do some paperwork or do my safety report or go check on that other new guy that I want to make sure is getting the training he needs, right? So it's not on a leader to be the best
or the only one.
Or the only is such a good point, man. Yeah. We don't need to be the only, leaders don't need to be the only one doing everything. That's a bad leader.
Yeah.
Good leaders empower their team, pass along knowledge, are not gatekeepers of knowledge or education or training or experience. Because at the end of the day, if you can do everything that I can do, then I can go to a meeting at the office or I can go deal with this problem and rely on you, who I've trained.
Makes me feel good. You're less stressed. Everybody's happy.
And then in a year or two, you can say, I think I'm ready to run a job.
Right.
And you've picked up on some good leadership from me, right?
And the company grows.
Exactly.
It's so much more than just being in charge of something.
Exactly.
Which I know you work very hard on these topics.
Well, yeah, and I think what we all have to remember about it's really important to remember that we all have been part of good teams and bad teams. You might be on a bad team right now. Me, when I was in the Army, the most I ever learned about leadership was from shitty leaders.
Right, because
you learn what not to do. You learn the things that piss you off, and if you can remember, man, when I'm in charge, I would do it this way. Yeah. If you can actually remember that and do it, you can learn a lot from bad leaders. I think the kind of final message of this whole thing is leadership is a never-ending dance.
Correct.
To be a good leader, we are always adapting and improvising and overcoming the obstacles that we're faced with every day, multiple times a day on a job site. It's very frequently not easy. But once we get into a groove, just like Larry and his team today, just like a lot of the teams we saw during Scoops, once you start getting into a groove, once you've married appropriately safety and productivity and stopped them from being enemies, they're friends, then it's a lot easier to start implementing some of these other things.
100%. And if you look at most of the job sites we saw, were started in April, May. So we got to see them at their mid-mark. We got to see teams that have probably figured out all the annoying bumps and bruises in the beginning and now have established some sort of working.
We got to get over that rocky road.
Which every start of a job is going to start like that.
It sucks. Yeah. And every job is going to start 2 weeks behind schedule and over budget. It's just but as a leader, again, we have to be able to react to pressure, whether it's the pressure from the office, pressure from the job, pressure from a guy getting hurt, pressure from people not showing up. We have to be able to respond appropriately to that pressure, and keep these key things in mind. Clear communication, hold people accountable, make safety and productivity linked, not separated. Actively care for the people in our teams, right? Yep. Have good emotional intelligence with your team members. And remember, try to empower your team. You don't have to be the best at everything. Rely on a team that has other people that are good at it and rely on those people. That makes your team better.
It makes everybody feel better. Because when I'm on a job, I'm at work, and I get, given a little project or something it helps so much for the morale. We keep talking about morale, but at the end of the day, the leader has a lot to do with that.
And morale, the leader has, on a job site, has almost everything to do with morale.
Yeah.
And morale has almost everything to do with safety and productivity.
Because I'm looking at you to try to base how I'm feeling probably off what your reaction is. Because that's probably my mindset of how are things going is how pissed off is Reid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So if you're able to control yourself and keep a cool head even when things are going wrong, it inspires confidence throughout the rest of the people.
100%.
Because we're looking at you being You know, like, is it bad? I don't know. Like, I can't tell.
We need the captain of the ship to be calm, cool, and collected, even when it's stormy seas out. We need to be able to look at our leader and say, they've been here before. We can get through this. It's all good.
Yeah, we could write like a little book.
We should.
Yeah.
So again, just recapping kind of these 5 things that we think are really important that we were lucky enough to see in action on some of our job sites: communication, safety and accountability, decisiveness under pressure, emotional intelligence, and empowering the team.
Yeah, which is probably like you guys are watching this giggling, being like, oh, we're terrible, we don't do that. But it's funny because we see so many job sites in the summer, and from an outside perspective, I think our members do really good at it.
Yeah.
And it's
also easy to have a big smile on your face when ice cream comes around.
Yeah, you got 500 calories just popping in everybody's mouth. Yeah, no, I would agree. But it is nice being from outside perspective to see everyone in the training room in the winter and then go back out and see them using all the shit that we've talked about and see it work and see how successful they are.
Couldn't agree more.
It makes me feel good as what'd you call that? A leader assister?
As a leader, yeah.
Leader assister.
I think you bring up a great point here, Ben, and then we'll wrap this thing up. But everyone is a leader. Yeah. We're all leaders, and if you're empowering your team, you're creating more leaders. We all have responsibilities, and we all have skills that we're good at. We are leaders in our own lanes, and it's important to continue to cultivate those kind of leadership skills, whether you're
how you make a great company.
Exactly, and whether you're a first-day laborer or a 20-year superintendent, there's always things that we can improve on.
Everybody remembers, even the first terrible super that you had to deal with. That was we talked about it this morning on the car. Just the person that makes you hate going to work. Yeah. And how we never want to be that person. Exactly. And so that's what you're talking. Yeah. It's just everybody remembers that one person. So you should use that to motivate you to be the exact opposite. Yeah. And then when you catch yourself being an ass, you can say, dude, I'm being that guy right now.
And that's the accountability that we were talking about. Yep.
So. Cool.
So what are we thinking, Ben? Again, we had a great week, first week of Scoops. Where have we decided where week number 2 Scoops is going to be?
That will come out on Monday when this is coming out. So you'll get an email from me. If you're not getting my Monday emails,
let us know.
Let us know. Usually I do some announcements. I've seen a couple inspections on cranes, rigging, certs, all that stuff. So if you run cranes a lot or that's up your alley, remember that. Make sure you can
get an emphasis program, so they're going to stop. If they see a crane in the air and they're around, they're going to stop.
Right, so make sure we're up to date with our paperwork and that stuff. Do you have any announcements that you want to talk about for your own?
I think, yes, thank you. Next week on Tuesday is the start of the Leadership Lunch and Learn pilot program that we're doing.
This comes out on Monday.
Great, sorry. So on Tuesday, the day after this video comes out, the Leadership Academy Lunch and Learn starts. You'll see a bunch of stuff in your email Monday and Tuesday, links and registration.
We'll both be there.
And we'll be there, so you'll see us there.
Cool.
Cool.
All righty, thanks everybody. As always, we're at AGC Vermont. If you want to get in touch with us, it's 802-223-2374. My name's Ben.
And I'm Reid.
And this is Reid. You can email me at ben@agcvt.org. And thank you for joining us.